In this video, we're going to reveal 8 types of people you should avoid helping at all costs. You might be surprised by a couple of them. But before we dive into the details, let me share a story that will help you grasp the lesson of this video. A long time ago, in a small Japanese village, there lived a farmer named Hiroshi, known for his kindness and willingness to help others. One day, Hiroshi found a snake trapped in a cage on his farm. Although the snake could have been dangerous, Hiroshi felt pity for it and decided to set it free. Guided by Buddhist teachings about compassion for all beings, Hiroshi cared for the snake, feeding it and providing a safe place for it to recover. However, as soon as the snake regained its strength, it bit Hiroshi and slithered away. Hiroshi, wounded and surprised by the snake's behavior, remembered Buddha's words, "The nature of all beings is just as it is. It cannot be changed, only understood." He realized that the snake's nature was such that it would bite regardless of the help it had received. This story, like many other Buddhist tales, teaches us that some people, like that snake, won't change their nature no matter what. It reminds us of Buddha's words, that just as the lotus is pure in water, so too do good and evil coexist in the human heart. Sometimes, in our desire to help, we might overlook important signs, leading us to get hurt by others. It's crucial to know who we are helping and understand that not everyone will appreciate our efforts. Think of your energy as a battery. Some people recharge it, while others drain it faster than a phone running 1,000 apps at once. Does that sound familiar? We've all encountered both types of people on our paths. Let's take a closer look at these energy vampires and the importance of recognizing them. Before we continue, if you find value in these videos, please give us a like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay updated on our upcoming videos. Let's begin. Number 1, the envious. Imagine you've just won the lottery. Who would you tell first? Before you start making a mental list of all those people, let me share an interesting fact with you. According to a study by Harvard University in the United States, 70% of lottery winners experience a decline in their personal relationships after their win. The main reason for this is envy. However, you don't need to win millions to feel the destructive effects of envy. Whether it's a promotion at work or a new relationship that makes you happy, envious people are always lurking, ready to shoot their poisonous arrows of disapproval and resentment. Psychologist Sarah Prase, in her book The Philosophy of Envy, suggests that envy arises when we perceive a gap between what we have and what we think we deserve. It's as if we have an internal meter of cosmic justice that goes haywire when someone else gets something we believe should be ours. But here's something interesting. Envy isn't always bad. It can actually be a powerful motivator. As the famous inventor Thomas Edison said, "To invent something new, you need a good imagination and a pile of junk." Replace bad envy with good, and you have the recipe for success or disaster, depending on how you handle it. The key lies in how we respond to envy, both our own and that of others. Here's one of the most counterintuitive yet effective pieces of advice. Keep your successes and plans to yourself. Yes, you heard that right. In an age where it seems like if you don't share something on social media, it didn't happen, I suggest you do the opposite. Why do I say this? As the great spiritual teacher Buddha said, silence is the most powerful answer to many questions. When you prematurely share your plans, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that's released when you actually achieve your goal. This can lead to a false sense of satisfaction, reducing the motivation to keep going. A study published in one of the most popular American journals showed that people who kept their goals private were 67% more likely to achieve them than those who shared them widely. It's as if the universe has a twisted sense of humor. The more you talk about your dreams, the less likely they are to come true. When you share your plans, you're not only dealing with your own psychology, but also the psychology of others. And this is where our envious friends come into play. As the American writer and playwright Gore Vidal said, "Every time a friend succeeds, I die a little." Multiply this by every person you tell your plans to, and you'll get a sense of the negative energy you'll have to deal with. In Zen Buddhism, it's taught that each step on our path is an opportunity for learning. As Buddha said, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. In our relationships with others, especially with the envious, we must be like water, flexible but strong. Water may seem soft, but it has the power to carve rock. In the same way, our behavior can influence others, even if our actions seem subtle. Envy can be transformed if we approach it with wisdom and compassion. So what should we do? Should we become hermits and keep all our achievements to ourselves? Not exactly. The key here is selectivity. As Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, said, "Keep your dreams away from negative people, because negative people will discourage you from achieving your dreams. Treat your dreams and plans like a secret recipe. You wouldn't give it to just anyone, right? You'd only share it with those you trust completely, those who won't just avoid betraying you, but will help you improve it." In the spirit of Zen, when you decide to share your plans or successes, do it in a way that inspires rather than provokes envy. Instead of saying, "I just got an amazing promotion," try saying, "I'm excited about this new challenge at work." The difference may seem subtle, but the impact on how others perceive your message can be huge. The ancient Chinese philosopher and founder of Taoism, Laozi, reminds us that words have the power to create reality. Choose your words wisely. So how do you recognize envious friends? Here are some warning signs that can make this task easier. 1. The reluctant praiser. Their congratulations are more forced than a smile at a family gathering. 2. The professional minimizer. No matter how great your achievement, to them, it's always a matter of luck or something insignificant. 3. The compulsive competitor. Your success is just an excuse for them to tell you how they did it better, faster, or cheaper. 4. The hidden saboteur. Publicly, they cheer you on, but privately, they do everything possible to derail your plans. 5. The information collector. They always want to know more details, not out of genuine interest, but to find faults or copy you. Recognizing these patterns is the first step in protecting yourself. The second is developing what I call a bamboo mind. Do you know what makes bamboo grow strong and resilient? It turns difficulties and adversities into strength and flexibility. As Zen philosophy says, every obstacle is an opportunity to practice. In the same way, you can use others' envy as motivation to keep growing and improving. Remember, your worth doesn't decrease because of others' achievements, nor does it increase because of their failures. As former US President Theodore Roosevelt said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." Focus on your own path, your own goals, and your own development. The philosophy of Zen Buddhism teaches that the path to enlightenment is individual, and each person must walk it alone. As Zen master Shunryu Suzuki said, "Each of us must cross our own ocean by ourselves." Envy often reflects others' insecurities. The next time you feel an envious gaze, smile. Not because you enjoy someone's discomfort, but because you've discovered a sign that you're on the right path. In the spirit of Zen, smile with compassion, understanding that others' envy is an expression of their own suffering. In summary, being selective about who you share your successes and plans with isn't about selfishness or arrogance. It's about protecting your energy, maintaining your motivation, and shielding yourself from toxic envy. The next time you have big news or an exciting plan, take a deep breath, smile to yourself, and treat it like your most precious treasure. Choose to share it only with those who will genuinely be happy for your success. Remember, the greatest success is the one others notice on their own, without needing to be broadcasted to the world. Let your achievements speak for themselves. In the end, actions always speak louder than words, and they definitely attract less envy. Number 2, the manipulators. This group presents a special challenge because these individuals are true artists in the craft of manipulating others' goodwill. They use sincere attempts to help to serve their own interests, with no intention of reciprocating or showing any real improvement. Imagine you're playing chess, but your opponent has the secret ability to move your pieces without your knowledge. That's how a skilled manipulator operates. Don't worry if you're just now realizing there might be someone like this in your life. Today, we'll learn how to recognize their tricks and defend ourselves against their cunning. As Zen master Shunryu Suzuki said, the most important thing is to find a balance between calmness and action. When dealing with a manipulator, it's crucial to stay calm and be aware of your actions. Manipulators use our emotions to achieve their goals. In Zen, we learn that awareness is the key to understanding the true nature of reality. We must be aware of our thoughts and emotions to avoid being dragged into their games. Why do some people seem to have a PhD in manipulation? Psychology has some interesting answers to this question. According to a study conducted by a top US university, people with narcissistic and Machiavellian traits are more likely to manipulate others. It's as if they have an internal GPS programmed to find the shortest path to their own interests, no matter who they have to step over. I'm not saying you should put on a tinfoil hat and trust no one, but it's important to develop your radar for emotional pirates. As the famous psychologist and author of Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, Robert Cialdini said, "The best defense against manipulation is knowledge and awareness." Think of your emotional well-being as a fortress that you must protect at all costs. Manipulators are like invaders trying to penetrate your defenses. If you don't have a good security system, before you know it, they'll be sitting in your living room eating your snacks and controlling your life with the remote. How can you recognize a professional manipulator? Here are some warning signs. 1. The emotional chameleon. They change their personality faster than a teenager changes moods. Their behavior varies depending on who they're with, adapting to what they think that person wants to see. As Zen Master Dogen said, each moment is invaluable. Don't waste it on superficial games. 2. The gaslighting expert. They make you doubt your own perception of reality. Are you sure that's how it happened? I think your memory is failing you. You should take something to improve your memory. These are just a few examples of what they might say. In Zen, we learn that reality is subjective, but truth always resides within ourselves. We must trust our intuition and not let others distort it. Be mindful, pause, and reflect carefully to ensure you're not dealing with this type of person when you encounter similar statements. 3. The sniper of low self-esteem. These people often throw seemingly innocent comments that undermine your confidence. For example, they might say, "Are you really going to wear that?" Well, if you're comfortable with it. The goal of people who make these kinds of comments is to divert attention from their own deficiencies and shortcomings. With these people, cut the conversation short and set clear boundaries. Respond immediately. Otherwise, every additional comment from that person will affect you even more. Remember your inner worth and don't give others the chance to question it without reason. From the Zen perspective, it's important to develop inner strength and tranquility. As Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Without inner peace, it's impossible to find outer peace." If we're not calm within ourselves, manipulators can easily disturb our balance. That's why meditation and mindfulness practice are key to dealing with manipulation. Through meditation, we can learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without getting attached to them, allowing us to respond in a more conscious and controlled manner. Number 3, the ungrateful. Have you ever met someone who seems to have a black hole instead of a heart? These are the people who, no matter how much you give them, always want more and are never satisfied. Imagine you're at a restaurant, enjoying a delicious dinner with friends, when suddenly you hear someone loudly complaining about the food, the service, and even the color of the napkins. Yes, you guessed it. They're a professional ingrate in action. In Buddhist wisdom, there's a saying, everything is in the mind. What makes some people seem eternally dissatisfied? Psychology has some interesting answers to this. According to a study conducted by the University of California, people with low self-esteem tend to be less grateful. It's as if they have a filter that only lets negative things through, blocking out all the good that life has to offer. I'm not saying you should cut ties with anyone who forgets to say thank you, but it's important to recognize when someone constantly abuses your kindness. As the famous entrepreneur Richard Branson said, treat your employees the way you want them to treat your best customers. We can extend this advice to all our relationships. Think of gratitude as a plant that needs to be watered and cared for to grow. If you keep watering a plant with your time, energy, and resources, yet it never blooms or bears fruit, it might be time to consider whether you're cultivating the wrong garden. As Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh taught, gratitude is the heart of true Zen practice. When we appreciate the moment and the people in our lives, we transform every moment into a valuable gift. However, be careful not to confuse ingratitude with constructive honesty. Your friend who tells you that you have spinach in your teeth before an important date isn't ungrateful. They're a hero without a cape. The difference lies in the intention and the pattern of behavior. A fascinating study published in an American scientific journal demonstrated that people are not only happier, but also have stronger and more lasting relationships when they practice gratitude in their lives. It's as if gratitude is the invisible glue that holds our social connections together. So, what should you do with these types of people? The answer isn't simple, but we can take some lessons from positive psychology. Martin Seligman, considered the father of this branch of psychology, suggests that cultivating gratitude benefits not only the recipient, but also the giver. Instead of getting frustrated with the ungrateful, we can see them as an opportunity to strengthen our own ability to appreciate the good things in life. Just as we physically train our legs or back in the gym, training our gratitude muscle works the same way. However, let's not confuse being grateful with being a bottomless pit. Setting healthy boundaries is just as important as being generous. As author Brené Brown said, generosity is not infinite, and it's not true if it comes from resentment. Remember, a lack of gratitude says more about them than it does about you. As psychologist Carl Rogers said, the paradox is that when I accept myself as I am, then I can change. The next time you encounter an ingrate, take a deep breath, remember your worth, and ask yourself if that person deserves your energy. If the answer is no, it's time to step back. You're not being selfish, you're practicing self-care, and by taking care of yourself first, you can better care for others. If you decide to keep helping, do it because you genuinely want to, not because you expect recognition. Before moving on to the fourth type of person, share this video with your loved ones and anyone you think should see it. Also, write in the comments, I become wiser every day, to show me that you're still here with me and to inspire others in shared learning. Number 4, the lazy. Have you ever come across someone who seems to have an allergy to effort? These are the people who always have an excuse for not doing anything, as if the couch were their natural habitat and the remote control an extension of their hand. Welcome to the fascinating world of the lazy, masters of the art of doing nothing, who teach us valuable lessons about productivity, or perhaps the lack of it. Imagine you're in a work meeting and you hear someone say, "I couldn't finish the report because my cat ate my motivation." Yes, you guessed it. They're a professional procrastinator in action. What makes some people seem to have a PhD in procrastination? Science has some interesting answers. According to a study conducted by one of the leading universities in the United States, laziness might be an evolutionary strategy to conserve energy. It's as if our caveman ancestors passed down a gene for energy-saving mode. But in today's world, where we don't need to conserve energy to escape predators, this strategy can become counterproductive. As one of the great psychologists of the 20th century, William James, said, "Nothing is so fatiguing as the eternal hanging on of an uncompleted task." In Zen Buddhism, there's a teaching about mindfulness and being fully present in the moment. As Zen master Shunryu Suzuki used to say, "In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few." Laziness is often a way of avoiding presence and full engagement. When we think we already know everything about a topic, we often stop giving it the same energy and attention we did at the beginning. That's why in Zen practice, we're encouraged to fully engage in each action, no matter how small. This reminds me of the story of a Zen monk who, with great care and dedication, swept the path around the monastery every day. When asked why he gave so much importance to such a mundane task, he replied, "When I sweep the path, I also sweep my mind, leaving it clear and clean." So, instead of supporting others' laziness, we can encourage them to fully engage in their actions, teaching them that every moment and every task is a valuable opportunity for practice and growth. Recognizing and avoiding supporting those who avoid effort is an act of compassion towards yourself and others. As Buddha said, "You will not be punished for your anger, but you will be punished by your anger." The same goes for laziness. Avoiding effort and responsibility leads to suffering and stagnation, both in the lazy person and in those who try to support them. How then do you identify a chronically lazy person? Here are some warning signs. 1. The king of excuses. These are people who have more excuses than a cat has lives. "I couldn't go to the gym because my plant needed me to sing to it so it would grow." In Buddhism, excuses are like illusions that separate us from true understanding. As Zen master Shunryu Suzuki said, "The most important thing is to know that you have the nature of a Buddha, and that means nothing limits you." 2. The expert in "I'll do it tomorrow." For them, tomorrow is a magical place where all the unfinished tasks pile up. For clarity's sake, that tomorrow never comes. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh says, "The future depends on the present. If we take good care of the present moment, the future will take care of itself." 3. The lazy multitasker. These people might be watching a series, checking Facebook, and complaining about their work at the same time. If they invested that energy in being productive, they would probably solve the problem of global warming. In Zen teachings, the unity between mind and action is key. As the Zen saying goes, "When you walk, walk. When you eat, eat." 4. The shortcut seeker. They're always looking for the easiest way to do things. If there were an app that could breathe for them, they'd be the first to download it. In Buddhism, seeking shortcuts is seeking illusion. As Zen master Dogen taught, the way is perfect and all-pervasive. As soon as you stop seeking, you understand that you are exactly where you need to be. 5. The procrastinator. For these people, the alarm clock is just a friendly suggestion. 5 more minutes, they say. And before they know it, an hour has passed. In Buddhist philosophy, the clock symbolizes that time is only an illusion, but our responsibility to each moment is a reality. I'm not saying you should immediately break ties with everyone who prefers a nap to a gym session, but remember, Surrounding yourself with lazy people can make you as lazy as they are. As writer and motivational speaker Tony Robbins said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So choose your company wisely, because you might end up being the only healthy tooth in a mouthful of cavities. In summary, in our desire to help others, we must be mindful of who we offer our energy to. It's not about denying help to everyone, but about helping with wisdom and discernment, ensuring that our efforts are truly valuable and benefit both ourselves and those we help. Number 5, the irresponsible. Have you ever met someone who seems to live in a world without consequences? Welcome to the fascinating universe of the irresponsible, experts at avoiding commitments and blaming everything and everyone but themselves. Imagine you're on a boat, and suddenly you see a hole in the hull through which water starts to pour in. While you and the rest of the crew are desperately trying to plug the hole and bail out the water, you see someone calmly sunbathing on the deck saying, "It's not my problem. I didn't make the hole." That, my friend, is irresponsibility in its natural habitat. When we try to help someone with this pattern of behavior, we often find ourselves in a cycle of frustration and anxiety. No matter how much we try to support them, our help rarely leads to meaningful progress. The irresponsible, as their name suggests, avoid responsibility and have an almost Olympic ability to blame others for their failures. If something goes wrong, even if it's completely unrelated to our actions, we can be blamed. This is not only unfair, but can also have a significant emotional and reputational impact on those who try to help these people. Therefore, it's important to take a cautious approach when dealing with this type of person. An effective strategy is to invite someone like this to reflect on their actions and the consequences they bring. Instead of solving their problems for them, we can direct their attention to developing self-assessment and self-management skills. A well-known American neuroscientist, Richard Davidson, has shown that the brain is extremely plastic and capable of changing and adapting even in adulthood. So there is hope, though these people may often need a gentle push or even an elephant-sized shove. As Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. In this context, education encompasses not only academic knowledge, but also the ability to take responsibility and learn from mistakes. Ultimately, dealing with irresponsible people is an exercise in patience and self-control. As philosopher Bertrand Russell said, the whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves, and wiser people so full of doubts. In Buddhism, we often repeat that helping others is the path to enlightenment, but only when it is wise help. So the next time you encounter a chronically irresponsible person, take a deep breath and remember that at least you have the wisdom to doubt whether you should keep helping them. Number 6, the eternal critic. They have a talent for finding flaws in every situation or person, from your choice of clothes to how you do your job or take care of your home and family. Identifying them can be as simple as listening to their conversations. Their comments are usually negative and destructive. If this sounds familiar, you're probably dealing with a chronic critic in your life. Dealing with them can be like navigating an emotional minefield. No matter how good your intentions are, they'll always find a way to dismantle them with their sharp criticism. What makes them this way? Research suggests that chronic critics often use criticism as a way to establish power or control over others, and even as a way to project their own insecurities. It's as if they have special glasses that only allow them to see flaws in everything. To counter their negative influence, it's essential to maintain a balanced perspective. As Zen master Tyson Deshimaru said, "True strength lies in a calm mind." Don't take their criticism personally. Often, their words say more about them than they do about you. try to redirect the conversation toward positive aspects or constructive solutions. Sometimes, a simple change of topic can be the best defense against their verbal attacks. Remember that constructive criticism can be helpful for personal growth, but chronic criticism simply erodes self-esteem and undermines confidence. Setting clear boundaries and maintaining a positive attitude can protect you from their negative influence while promoting a more positive and constructive environment around you. Number 7, the narcissist. Have you ever met someone who seems to have a mirror instead of a soul? Welcome to the fascinating world of narcissists, beings whose self-love takes all the top spots on the podium. Imagine trying to fill an Olympic-sized pool with just a single glass of water. That's how futile it can be to try to satisfy a narcissist's ego. Don't worry, you're not alone on this journey. According to studies conducted by a renowned US university, about 6% of the population displays significant narcissistic traits. This means you've probably encountered at least 1 or 2 people like this in your life. How do you identify these self-worshippers? If you've ever met someone who thinks the sun rises just to shine on their face, you're probably dealing with a narcissist. These people have a remarkable ability to turn every conversation into a monologue about their achievements, no matter how irrelevant they may be. Dealing with a narcissist can be more exhausting than trying to teach a cat to bark, but don't lose hope. There are strategies you can apply. It's not about changing the narcissist themselves, but about changing the way you interact with them. An effective tactic is what psychologists call selective validation. It's a bit like training a dog. You reinforce the positive behaviors the narcissist shows and ignore the negative ones. When the narcissist shows a bit of empathy, which sometimes happens, acknowledge it. However, when they start displaying their classic scenes, don't play along. Remember, you're not obligated to be a captive audience to their one-person show. In Zen, we learn that true happiness comes from accepting who we are. Don't let others impose their expectations and values on you. Be aware of your thoughts, emotions, and actions, and you'll find the inner peace that will allow you to better handle manipulation, criticism, and narcissism. An author of several bestsellers in the field of psychology once said that the ego is an insatiable octopus that feeds on your life. A Zen master would say that the ego is like a hungry ghost in samsara, always desiring more and ultimately never finding comfort. Don't let the narcissism in your life be that octopus or ghost. However, be careful not to confuse healthy confidence with narcissism. As Zen masters say, confidence is like a tranquil lake that reflects the beauty of the sky, while narcissism is like a stormy ocean that destroys everything in its path. The difference lies in the ability to empathize and the constant need for admiration. A confident person can genuinely enjoy the successes of others, like a monk in a Zen state who rejoices in the awakening of his companions. In contrast, the narcissist perceives those successes as a threat to their own greatness. Dealing with a narcissist can be a challenge, but it can also be an opportunity to strengthen your patience and compassion. Observing the narcissist can teach us a lot about the nature of desires and illusions. Through that observation, we can see the reflection of our own internal barriers and struggles, allowing us to draw conclusions and grow personally. Number 8, the opportunist. Imagine meeting someone who always seems to be lurking, looking for every opportunity to get something at the expense of others, regardless of the consequences. That's the opportunist. Someone who skillfully takes advantage of others' generosity or resources without offering anything in return except their own comfort. As Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh said, happiness is only possible when we stop waiting for it to come from the outside and start creating it from within. Opportunists, on the other hand, seek happiness externally in the resources of others, without realizing that true happiness can only be found within oneself. However, don't confuse an opportunist with someone who genuinely needs help. The difference lies in the pattern of behavior and reciprocity. As a psychologist from Harvard University explains, opportunists are experts at making you feel guilty when you don't meet their expectations. In Buddhism, it is said that guilt and shame must be understood and transformed rather than allowed to control our lives. Detecting an opportunist can be tricky, as they often hide their true intentions under the guise of collaboration and mutual benefit. A key sign to identify them is observing the lack of reciprocity. They always receive help, but rarely return the favor or collaborate equally. Dealing with an opportunist requires setting clear boundaries and being aware of your own resources and personal limits. As Zen Master Dogen said, "Understanding the limits of your power is the beginning of true strength." It's crucial to establish clear expectations from the outset. Define what you're willing to offer and what you expect in return. Promoting reciprocity is also fundamental in this case. Encourage the opportunist to contribute equally to the relationship, whether by sharing responsibilities or defining roles and expectations transparently. From a psychological perspective, opportunists reflect combinations of low empathy and high opportunism. As Buddhist master Chogyam Trungpa said, "True compassion is selfless and expects nothing in return." By understanding how to identify and manage opportunists, you can protect your emotional integrity and maintain healthier and fairer relationships. It's true that giving and receiving are fundamental in any healthy relationship, but when you realize that you're always giving and receiving nothing in return, it's time to reassess the situation. Investing energy and effort in people who undervalue your contribution can be emotionally draining. It's better to direct that energy toward fairer and more satisfying relationships, where your actions are recognized and valued. As the Japanese Zen master Sikyu once said, "Life is too short to waste on people who don't see your light." At the end of this video, I have a question for you. I'd like you to take a brief moment to reflect on it before answering. Here it is. What would change in your life if you could easily detect the behaviors presented in this video in the people around you? If you find it valuable, share your answer in the comments below this video. Perhaps you'll also inspire others to do the same. If you've made it to the end of our journey, write in the comments, "I live my life with full awareness." Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated on new videos. And remember, all we have is now. Thank you for making it to the end of this video, my dear friends. And before you go, here's something extraordinary I want to share with you. NASA scientists have developed a revolutionary 7-minute audio called GeniusWave that helps unlock your brain's full potential. Imagine attracting success and happiness effortlessly. To discover how you can transform your life too, click the link in the description below. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Until next time.